Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another video. We're using Cabba's counterpart, which is the type support strength hit. Once again, no dupes in him, level 1 Link, seeing what he can do at the bare minimum. We are running the full Universe 6 team this time around. Cabba is also here, so we do have 3 or more strength units on a team, so we do have hits guard. The one thing we won't be able to do, which we actually didn't manage to do with Cabba either, which is basically having that one turn to nuke, which is when they change all key spheres to strength key spheres when HP is 50% or less. But in this case for hit, it's when there are 2 other extreme class allies on the team, which of course on a Universe 6 team there isn't gonna be. His other team is Rose's 200 lead team, but I don't have Rose, so here we are. So once again, the starting stats are going to be fairly low. Hit's SA effect is different from Cabba's. He does stack defense by 50%, so the stacking is still there, but the attack isn't going to change. So you're on 112k attack stats, 77k defense, but of course we haven't picked up any orbs yet. We're getting 5 orbs in total, so not too many. And 4 of them are strength key spheres, so we're getting altogether 200% attack and defense, so not too much. But then we're also getting a total of 80% extra attack and defense and also 40% crit chance. So for the time, we're on a 480k attack stat, 237k defense with guard. That's why I decided to slide him in slot 1. I mean, do you know what? Considering he hasn't stacked at all, because it's the first turn, and we only got 5 orbs, and also 55%. Taking 20k on a basic actually isn't too bad in this scenario. Especially because this is the stage after the cell fight. You know, you got limited attempts, so I thought why not switch it up. So I'll actually take that for his first appearance. And of course his passive is literally the exact same as Cabba's, but literally for extreme type units. So instead of superclass units or super strength type units getting the additional 50% attack and defense, hit gives it to extreme class units. The only thing with hit, doesn't really have any versatility, and this is what really holds hit back. You know, I said they're all pretty much carbon copies of each other, which, I mean, they are very good with their passive, and we are almost dead. Damn. But you don't really have much place to use hit, I'll be real. Like, you really... We've got the nuke in. We've got the nuke in because we're almost dead, which means Cabba's first appearance, he's going to get 23 strength key spheres, which means 50% attack and defense per key sphere obtained and 20% per 23 strength key spheres. So we have 1.7 mil, 823k. Are you seeing what I meant when I was using him in his own video, where I was like, if we were like a decent stack deep, like out of those 9 turns he raises attack and defense for, like, he's gonna have well over 1 million defense, and again, that's at 55%. Another good thing as well, we've basically just healed ourselves, which is fantastic. But Cabba also has his guards, which is great. 9.9, that's what I mean. If we were actually like a decent few turns deep and got this, you're talking like over 10 mil, and again, this is all at 55%. So the fact you can just mini nuke with these units like this is generally insane, especially because of literally all their stats come from picking up orbs, and even more from same type key spheres. But as I was saying, unlike Cabba, hit just doesn't have just anywhere else to go. The best place you can run him right now is Universe 6. There's tournament participants, don't get me wrong, but that category of course will get a pick-me-up after the 9th anniversary when all the EZAs come out with Blue Boys, SSBE, UI. The only thing is, hit isn't really going to work too well with them, and what extreme strength units are you going to be using realistically? You know, eventually when LR Hitku gets an EZA, sure, Hit's going to have a great linking partner, an extreme strength unit that can actually make the most of it. It's actually going to work out pretty well for him. We're up to 112k. Well, actually, no, we're not up to 112k. We're up to 116k defense. Got to remember, his defense doesn't change. So right now we're getting 8 key spheres. So in total, that's 400% attack and defense. How many strength key spheres? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's an extra... How much do you get? 20%? Yeah, 20%. So that's 100% attack and defense and 50% chance to crit. So for this turn, 647k attack stat, 479k defense. Again, all while we have guard active as well. But, you know, as I said, LR Hitku, when they get an EZA, that's going to help out this hit a ton. 3.6 mil. Again, these units aren't really here to do damage. They are slot 3 units and support units. But Hitku will work really well. Outside of them, yeah, no. Like I said, hit when it comes to teams, it doesn't really have a place because extreme strength is just... it's just in the bin. Like, I mean, extreme units are always gonna have an uphill battle, which is gonna apply to a lot of these. But I mean, there's super strength units that can benefit from him. Kabar, you know, base KO again. EZA Keflar, EZA SSBK. There's also the likes of... yeah, no, it's pretty much the same units that Kaba can buff, but Kaba, as I said, just has a lot more versatility to him because there's a lot more places he can run, being a superclass unit, a Saiyan, a Super Saiyan. Like, on his categories, you have Universe Survival Saga, which is very similar to Tournament Participants, but obviously a lot more narrowed down. You have Rapid Growth, Accelerated Battle. As I said, Universe 6 is literally his best place right now. Like, it is honestly his best team to go on. And he can actually work really well here. Like, because you can literally combine Kaba's support, his support. The only thing is, with hit support, he's the only one going to be benefiting from the big buff, the extreme strength type, or the extreme strength side of things. Combined with strength types get key plus 2 in attack and defense plus 10%. So no one apart from Hit himself will get the full 60%. But you can combine that 10% and the 60% Kaba's going to be offering to, again, EZA Keflar, Kaba himself, and, you know, base Kale, and combine that with Hit's 10%. You can't utilize his full support. You don't really have anywhere else to utilize his support anyway. But at least... as I said, he's a carbon copy of Kaba, so he actually does have a place on Universe 6, and you can just have both of them floating, just doing their thing. And I said, if you really wanted to, combine their supports together. It might not be the most, like, adding on hit support, but, I mean, it's still a benefit. And at least, as I said, Kaba kind of works off of having that as well. But I said, he doesn't really have any place to go apart from Universe 6. They're space traveling warriors. I mean, you could put him on tournament participants, but there isn't enough extreme units you could be using. And again, LR Hitku's EZA, we don't know when that's going to come, but eventually there'll be a good unit to run him with. Then you have super bosses. Maybe. I mean, if we quickly take a look. While we give Hit 12 key spheres, by the way. 968k defense. That is literally enough to handle... and again, he's stacking, so his defense is only going to get stronger. 981k attack stat as well, though. But that is pretty much currently... I'm only literally like, what, 3 turns deep of him supering? That is enough to be handling like the majority of normals in the game. Actually, no, that is enough to handle all the normals currently on global. What was he putting out number-wise? 5.4, again, not bad considering he's there for support. Yeah, no, super bosses, he's not... there's just extreme strength is just generally bum, like it's in the bin. Again, for the most part, your best place to utilize, and one of the only place to utilize Hit, is literally Universe 6. Which is not a bad thing, it's a strong category, but I say compared to Kaba, who's the super variant of him, you know, Hit's got nowhere to go but here, and you can't even utilize that 50% attack and defense support for extreme strength types. But still, that doesn't mean it's bad. Don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking him, I'm not saying he's bad, but as I said, it does impact him quite a lot. He's in a much worse spot compared to Kaba. And it definitely shows. It definitely shows. Which I think is a little bit of a shame, but he's still good. He's still good, and I said he'll work really well in the Universe 6 team, and I said if you really wanted to, you can kind of like combine their supports together. I mean, Keflar already, EZA Keflar already does a ton of damage anyway. In stacks. Not to mention Hit stacking as well. So he's defensively, he's only going to get stronger and stronger and stronger. And for the first 4 turns when he's going to be at his weakest, and he hasn't stacked too much in the beginning, he's going to have guard. So also having Kaba and also having Hit, if you have both, or if you summon for them and got both, they help each other naturally on Universe 6, because naturally when you use these units, you want to trigger their guard. It helps them out a ton. So you kind of need one or the other if you're going to run them on Universe 6, or especially in Hit's case, where his only place really to be used right now on a 200% lead, but kind of just one of the only 170 categories, but naturally being on KO's 200% lead is Universe 6's, you know, category. You kind of need both of them. You need one and the other to get that final strength unit, to get the 3 or more strength units on a Universe 6 team, so you can trigger their guard, funny enough. But I mean, he's still good. Again, as I said, all of these type supports pretty much have carbon copies of each other, just different types they're supporting. Different SAFX is the major difference, and whether they're supporting super extreme units with that 50% attack and defense. But as I said, Hit is still solid. It's just you don't really have anywhere to run him apart from here. And if you're missing some of the better Universe 6 EZAs, which funny enough are extreme, like not extreme, but strength type units, you kind of got nowhere else to put him. And if you're missing them, you can't get his guard. I mean, from stacking, he's on 193k defense. This time, we generally can't actually get him too many key spheres. Can I actually get him more if I get rid of the strength key spheres? I can get him 5. How much does that put us on for the turn? 496. Yeah, it's not too much. So, as I said, he's still good. We're probably going to die in a minute, but that's fine. He's still good, but I said he's very, very limited. Like, extremely limited. I really wouldn't be surprised if we die after one of these attacks. We actually didn't die, but I did go on a coffin fit. So, power of editing comes in. But yeah, I mean, because he's a carbon copy, because they're all carbon copies, they are all very good and absolutely sensational slot 3 units. The only thing with him being an extreme strength unit, and especially being an extreme strength unit, I mean, being an extreme unit alone, as I said, is kind of an uphill battle in Dokkan. It always has been. But being an extreme strength unit where there aren't many good extreme strength units right now, he doesn't really have much place to run him, which goes against them, because who you really going to be utilizing his full support with? That one turn nuke as well, you need extreme strength units, which I mean, it's not too bad you can't get it, but it would be nice. And outside of Universe 6, there aren't too many categories you're going to be running this guy on. I mean, it does work well in Universe 6, but if you don't have Kale to run it, it's a little bit techy, and I don't think you'll be using Hit too much. But at 55%, I mean, he still performed well. As I said, your best bet is doubling him up with Cabra if you have both. But he's still pretty good, and the stacking is also good. Again, with there being longer content coming to Dokkan with the 9th anniversary and potentially this new Freezer Rush, him stacking with 50% every time he supers, and if you can get him a ton of orbs, means he's actually going to have a ton of defense while doing all these other things that he could possibly do. But you can have any thoughts down in the comments. I'll see you in the next video, guys. Take care, have a good rest of your day, and peace.